Okay, we're back here at the Azure channel with Tao Young and Fernando Rolnik. Welcome, guys.
Hi,
guys.
Hi, Tal. Welcome again here on Azure.
Yeah, thanks, George. Thanks, Fernando. Thanks for having me.
That's great. That's great to have you here, Tao. And Tao have just opened here a new framework called ARM-ttk. It's a testing framework, and let's see how that works. Tao, you can jump straight to that. And everyone watching that, please follow the channel, follow us, and thanks, Tao, again for being back here.
Subscribe our channel. So this ARM-ttk is a test framework for Azure ARM templates. Is that?
Yeah, that's right. So ARM-ttk is basically is a short name. I think the full name is called ARM template toolkit. So basically, what it is a set of tests you can run against your ARM templates to it's like a linter for your ARM templates to detect anything that's misconfigured or best practice. Well, if your template is following the best practice, so it's presented to us as a PowerShell module. It's developed, as you can see, it's actually from Microsoft. So it's developed by the ARM language ARM template product team. Brian Moore is one of the main contributors to this. This ARM-ttk toolkit is actually being used to as like a part of the quality control for all the quick start templates that people submit. So I've been using this for a while now. I'm not sure like how well known or how well adopted is this tool in the community. So I thought it's worth doing a quick video on this topic, especially now that as you might know that Project Bicep has just hit version 0.2. So Bicep is another abstraction layer on top of ARM template. So when you write a Bicep template, you can convert that to ARM template and deploy it. But again, because there's no there hasn't been any linters or any test frameworks that developed for Bicep, but you can still use ARM template to test the output of your Bicep templates once it's been converted, built into ARM template. So I thought this is a very good, very good tool that I've been using it for a while. I think it's definitely worth looking into that. So.
I think that's great, and yeah, like you said, it'll be even more important now that you are generating code using Bicep, and it would be nice to have on your pipeline something that can check what's generated before you apply. And
correct. Yeah. So I think ARM-ttk still has got its purpose, given that we're still deploying ARM templates, and even Bicep is actually converting the code to ARM templates, and the Bicep doesn't have anything similar to ARM-ttk. So I thought, this is still going to be a good, a valid use for ARM-ttk, regardless whether you've already started using Bicep or you using ARM template. So one thing that I want to point out is that although it's a PowerShell module, but it hasn't been published to PowerShell Gallery or any official package repository. So if you want to install ARM-ttk, then you have to just come down, go to this URL. Basically, it's a github.com/azure/ARM-ttk, and everything is in this ARM-ttk folder. So basically, you just need to copy this folder and put somewhere on a local drive, then import the module in, and then you can start using it. So to give an example, I've got oops, I've got a template. This template is something that George and I have been working on in the last couple months in a customer's environment. So this is as you can see, has got just less than 600 lines of code. It deploys 2 SQL virtual machines and places that as a part of an always-on cluster. So I thought this is a good example because it's a little bit complicated, but not too complicated, and we're going to use this to demo how ImTTK works. So I've already got ImTTK installed. As you can see, I can go git module TTK. You can see I've got installed. I downloaded this yesterday, so should still be up to date. So I have my code in here. As you can see, I've only got one ARM template in this folder. So basically, what I can do is just run once it's imported, right? Run test-tz, test az template, and then I'll just point to the current directory. It's going to scan through. If you have multiple ARM templates, we'll pick them up. So, and then we'll run through a set of pre-configured rules that the ImTTK provides. Under the hood is using PESTA framework, test framework to run the test. So as you can see that I've run just about 2,000 tests, give and take, and it has picked up some errors. So first one, I have an outdated API version defined in the template. So the API version I'm using to deploy virtual machine extensions is I'm using a 2015 version of the API version. And if I go to my my code, you can see where it is. So ImTTK tells you it's too old, and the newer versions you should be using, and the latest version is 2020 0601. So I should be updating that to this version. Hopefully that will fix it. So if I fix this and run again, see that I've just fixed it. Yeah. Yep. And then there are also other tests that you run, and it just shows you. See, for example, your template must have parameters, depends on best practices, and the maximum, minimum, maximum value for other numbers, and etc. etc. So it goes through all this tests that's been pre-configured in the module. So there are sometimes people have reported there might be some false positives. If that's the case, you can definitely pick, like, if you want to run specific test, you can do that, or you can also exclude, skip certain tests if you think that you don't believe in like certain tests that it shouldn't be configured that way. You can skip them as well. So overall, it's really useful when you deploy your template as part of your pipeline. So this can be part of your your test you perform before you deploy your templates. The good thing is because it's a PESTA, if you're using CI/CD pipelines such as Azure DevOps, you can actually generate a XML output and then use your pipeline to pass the output and provide nice dashboards to show that which tests fail and so on. So that's something that I've used before. So so now we talked about CI/CD. There are a few ways you can invoke this in your pipeline. So depending on what tools you use. For me, I'm a big fan of Azure DevOps, Azure Pipeline. I've got a, this is a demo I've used several times. Let me just make it bigger. So
just a quick question before I start. I can see that the framework probably will be open to pull requests and still room to improvements.
That's right.
I think, and it's always good the community start using help the back.
Yeah.
If you have an idea to improve these, just submit issues.
Yeah, so you
and
can
pull
see
requests.
the pull requests here that lodged by different people. So definitely you can check it out and then create a PR if you think it's necessary. So it's still being actively developed. As you can see that the last update was only 10 days ago.
Correct.
So yeah.
Let's keep that in mind and let's help back if
Yeah.
there are missing features or things that we're going to keep improving that.
Yeah. So my favorite way of running that is using my favorite tool called GitHub Super Linter.
Yeah.
So GitHub Super Linter was released, I think about 6 months ago, give and take. Basically it's a Docker container image, but it contains a linter for all the popular programming languages that are out there in the market. So as you can see, it has supported linters for all these languages, right? All the ones that are pretty well known, like Ansible, ARM template, AWS, CloudFormation, C#, Dockerfile, and you have HTML, Java, JSON, JavaScript, Markdown, and George's favorite, Terraform, PowerShell, and all this is being embedded into one single container image. So the way I run this is, let me just grab the command. Okay, so I've already pulled the image, right? So now if I just run this docker run, run local equals true, and then you map where you're mapping a local folder to a folder in the Docker container, and this is where the linter, the super linter, is going to scan through your code. So by default is tmp lint folder, and then that's the name of the container image, and then just go run it. As you can see, it will go through, it will try to find all the supported languages and run them all at once. And in the end, it says, I found some errors in ARM templates. And if you go up to the ARM template section, you will see that basically it provided the same output as what the ImTTK module provided. So the way the reason I like this the most is that I have one tool that covers everything, regardless like what kind of languages you have. You might have PowerShell, you might have for example, this pipeline is in YAML. You might have other like shell scripts or Python or whatever, right? And you can use that one linter to run them all. So basically, what I do is I use a Microsoft hosted Ubuntu agent and just run the script. The first line that pulls the super linter using Docker pull, and then next one is Docker run. So the reason I'm doing this is because I'm using Azure DevOps. But if you're using something like GitHub Action, GitHub has got an action for GitHub Super Linter already, right? So you don't have to actually pull down the image; you can just run it directly. But speaking of ImTTK, Justin Yu, I think is ex MEP now, works for Microsoft. He released a action for ImTTK. So you can actually just run ImTTK directly if that's what you want to do if you're using GitHub Action as your CI/CD tool.
That's nice. Thanks, Justin. We used to work together, and he's back in Korea now as advocate. Thanks, Justin.
And so there's another way if you use Azure pipelines. So there's an extension from Sam Kogan. I think Sam is also an MVP. He released this ImTTK extension. I've used it before as well. So if you install this in your Azure DevOps account, you can use that in your pipeline as well. So the good thing about this one is that it works for both. Well, of course it should, but it works in your YAML pipeline, but also if you're still using classic pipeline, like with GUI interface, that works in there as well. So you can have a nice GUI interface to configure if that's what you prefer. The one thing to keep in mind that based on my own experience, because the ImTTK module is embedded into this extension, it doesn't get updated as often as what ImTTK module does. So if you always want to use the latest and greatest, just keep in mind that the version of ImTTK included in this module might not be up to date. So as you can see, the last update for this one was over a month ago, and ImTTK was updated 10 days ago. So yeah, that's the only thing that I found. But comparing to GitHub Action, GitHub Action outputs. Sorry, compared to GitHub Super Linter, it outputs everything into standard out, right? So you can, in order to consume the result, you have to go to the log of your pipeline and see what's going on, why it's failed. But if you're using, if you invoke PowerShell directly in your template, in your pipeline, or using Sam's ImTTK extension, you can generate a XML file of the test result and then use and publish that result in your pipeline and then pass that into a nice dashboard. So that's the only difference. But for me, for the sake of convenience, I personally prefer using GitHub Super Linter because everything is in one place.
Yeah, but it's great to have options.
Yes, so there are many more options you can use to run ImTTK. I think people I've started seeing more and more people start using this, and Brian Moore from the ARM team is definitely making a lot of effort making this up to date. So I think if you haven't checked it out and you are using ARM template, you definitely should look into this.
That's great, though. That's great. Good to have. Then let's say that TTK is a toolkit, as the name say. The ARM toolkit is your Swiss knife to make sure that your ARM templates, and that's what we are using for the quick start templates to make sure that
that's right.
They're all on the same, following the same structure, and that's nice. It's good to know. And Fernando, any final comments? What is useful for your projects?
I like the Super Linter because you can link everything as Tao told. We can link like our YAML files from the pipeline. We can link to the ARM templates and anything else you work. It's a very handy tool.
Yeah, and Super Linter is great, especially if you have a pipeline not only deploys your infrastructure, but also deploys your application. Like if you say deploy like a web app as part of your code as well, or function, whatever, you can use one tool to run linter for everything, right? So, or if you're deploying a container as a part of your pipeline, that's covered too in there as well. So, and this list was growing. So when it just started, it didn't have ImTTK in there. So I've actually put down on my to-do list that when I have time, I'll actually create a pull request and put this one in. But someone from Microsoft beat me to it, and then had this one. I added in the Super Linter before I had a chance, so which is great. So
That's great. You have been tell me about this Super Linter for a long time, and then I can see how useful it is, and you can run on your Docker desktop and make sure that you can use any of these languages. Then there was more than TTK today. It was Super Linter discussion was pretty nice as well. Thanks, Tal.
No worries.
Thanks for having you here again, Fernando.
Thanks, Tal.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.